Welcome. This is Recidiva. I'm sharing a recording of a casual Skyrim playthrough using a mod list I built. My profound thanks to all the mod creators who have made this game a crowdsourced treasure. I hope you enjoy. Okay, so there are some quests in vanilla College of Winterhold that we haven't done. I'm sure I'll probably end up picking up some Radiant stuff or things from the immersive College of Winterhold. So I'm just going to go start talking to people and pick up quests from them. Yeah, everybody's probably asleep. Oh, unicorn.
Might find
right.
some hawkers up the coast. Nothing to go. The steak.
I'm sure you've made note of who's been the most helpful during your time here, Archmage.
Really subtle, Nia.
How you doing, love? Are you alright?
I'm okay. I'm just cold and gonna have
You sure
to
that's
talk to
all?
weird people.
It's lies. All of it. I don't care what she told you. It's all lies.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I think we've already had this conversation.
No? Well, then she hasn't gotten to you yet. But she will. And don't you believe a word of it.
Can you imagine this place during the Great Collapse?
What's your problem with Feralda?
My problem with her? She's the one who has a problem with me. She's threatened by me, by my skill as a wizard, by my elegance and posture, by my superior good looks. But she is not going to get the better of me. Oh no, I won't let it get to me one bit. That's what she's after. She's trying to undermine my confidence, make me doubt myself. Well, it won't work, I tell you.
Okay.
All right then.
Perhaps we can go another few decades without a disaster. That would be nice.
Is there any college business I can assist with?
You mean the official sort of business? Well, no. No, not really. But I can't help but notice that you're doing quite well for yourself. Rising through the ranks and all. It may not be official, but there is a project I've been working on. I wonder if perhaps you could assist with it.
Can you tell me more about this project of yours?
Yes. No, I don't think so. Not at this point. It's just that, well, I'm not even really sure it's going to amount to anything just yet. All theoretical right now, you understand? But the implications are quite intriguing, I think. I simply need some experimental results to confirm my suspicions. Just bring me some Dwemer cogs. I need to examine them for the methods used in forging them. 10 of them should be enough for me to get a better understanding of how they were crafted. That's all I need, all right? Perhaps we can go another few decades without a disaster. That would be nice.
I have the cogs you asked for.
Ah, that's excellent news. This will be most helpful in furthering my research. I'm afraid I can't offer you much right now, but please take this. And perhaps, if this is all successful, well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's too early to be getting excited. Still, this is most encouraging. Thank you again. If I require anything else, I shall be sure and let you know.
Do you need any more help with your project?
As a matter of fact, there is something you can do for me. I had retained Enther's services in, acquiring something specific. But now he's refusing to deliver. Could you perhaps speak with him and see if we can come to some sort of arrangement? All right, then.
Good to see Skyrim still has such fine people. You give an old man hope.
Is there anything I should be aware of?
Actually, yes, Archmage. I believe there is. We've been contacted by the Jarl of Dawnstar. It would seem there's some sort of disturbance. From what few details we were given, it sounds quite familiar. I suspect that the power released by the Eye of Magnus was not fully contained and has coalesced in this part of Skyrim. I do hope you still have the Staff of Magnus someplace. I suspect you're going to need it.
Can you tell me more about the... let me just go through all of it. Can you tell me more about wards?
The key to wards is that they take time to charge. Not long, but you can't start casting with a fireball coming at you. Also, if your ward isn't negated by an incoming spell, it will recharge itself after a moment or two. Just be careful. Casting wards requires constant concentration, and you can easily find yourself drained of your magical reserves.
I'd like to speak to you.
Of course.
Actually, forget I said anything. Okay.
Yes, I have a lot of research to do.
Oh, you need the Archmage's robes and key to make 12th tier Archmage. I don't want to make 12th tier Archmage.
I'm always available should you need me, Archmage.
Why would I do that? I don't be Archmage. Can you train me in alteration music?
I can certainly share a bit of what I know.
Okay. Can you tell me more about the Augur of Dunland?
Well, I suppose he wouldn't mind. It was all before my time, you understand. I've heard the stories, the same as anyone else. He was a brilliant student, an accomplished wizard, delved into magic in a way none had seen before. But I think he became too focused on just how much power he could acquire. That's what led to the accident.
What accident?
Do you remember what I first told you? About how not being able to control magic could destroy you? I didn't simply mean it could kill you. The Augur's accident is another very real type of a life destroyed. Well, it's been described as an accident. I can't imagine it was intentional. Something must have gone wrong, and he ended up in the state he's in now, fused to the energies that flow through the college. I've never felt it appropriate to ask him about it, about how that must feel. Well, I suppose, if he can feel at all.
You look like you could use a hint.
Well, yes. This is rather embarrassing, but it seems I've misplaced something. I can't find my alembic. I suppose I could use another one, but, well, it sounds silly, but mine has sentimental value. If you happen to see it, would you mind bringing it to me? All right, then.
I think you can find his... I think he forgets his alembic over and over and over. It's a repeatable quest. I think I already gave it to him.
It's like travelling with the
It's
damn
been a while.
shadows sometimes.
If you require assistance with summoning techniques, please let me know. If you would, please also contain your summons to the college grounds. The locals do not need to be agitated further by Atronachs roaming their town. The summoning of undead is even less advisable outside the college.
You said something about missing apprentices?
Ah, that, yes. The group prior to yours has disappeared entirely. It's possible that there was less than the necessary amount of oversight. That's still being looked into. But we've had no contact with them for quite some time now. Arniel wondered if perhaps they'd somehow managed to get themselves lost in the Outer Realms. But I think that's giving them too much credit.
Where could they have gone?
I'm not sure. None of them were working on anything terribly dangerous. As I recall, Ysra was trying to improve flame cloak spells to better work in Skyrim's harsh environment. Elos Tai was practicing illusion spells. She was having trouble with the calm spells, I believe, but only ever worked with skeevers. And then there's Borvir and Rundi, twins, though they rarely agreed on anything. Those two boys were obsessed with mead, convinced they could concoct something to compete with Honningbrew. Something about using frost magic to chill the mead for a certain period of time. I felt it was a waste, but the Archmage let them proceed.
Can you teach me about conjuration?
You've already learned all I can teach you.
No. Are there many conjurers outside the college?
Not within society, no. Many who practice within the School of Conjuration do so on their own, secretly. Thalion is the only one I know who is public about what he does. He was once my teacher here, but left the college years ago.
Summoning on... why did Thalion leave college?
He didn't like the Archmage. Hated dealing with him. Hated having to answer to him. Thalion said he hated what this place was becoming, so he just left. Aron found a note on his desk, and that was it. I understand he settled down in Hjalmarch, and his presence there caused something of a problem.
Summoning undead isn't frowned upon?
I sure know. Those archaic policies died out with the Mages Guild, and were never enforced here. Necromancy, as any other type of magic, is a tool to be used. Of course, non-mages may not see it that way, so we don't go around flaunting it.
I don't think I got any quests
All
from
right,
those.
then.
There's no fun the apprentices thing.
The Eye of Magnus, here but lost. Slipped through our grasp. Oh, what we might have learned.
Which are the best illusion spells?
Oh my, that's quite a difficult question. Never underestimate the ability to influence others. Whether they're friends or foes, they're almost all susceptible to illusion spells. They can turn the tide of a battle in a moment's notice. There are also spells that help in avoiding conflict altogether. Invisibility is tricky to master, but exceptionally useful.
What else is there to be learned about illusion magic?
You have gone beyond my teachings, which is quite a feat. I did not think it possible. But there is always more to learn. I believe you are ready for the next step.
What's the next step?
Knowledge of truly powerful illusion spells is here at the college, but it is hidden from those who might misuse it. I shall teach you a spell to discern things hidden from others. With it, you will be able to acquire the texts you need. Bring all four to me, and I shall use them to inscribe the spells for you.
Is there any college business I can assist with?
There may be a matter in which your skills could be useful. The various points of focus for magic energies around the college have become polluted and need cleansing.
Alright, I'll help.
Very well. These specially enchanted gloves will allow you to delve directly into the focal points for these energies. Go to each focal point and remove whatever impurities you may find there. Return the gloves to me when you have finished. Please exercise caution. This is not a procedure without possible consequences.
Would you need, I don't need to ask.
Until next
what I
time.
needed to do.
The cold this far north has a way of creeping into your bones. I could think of a way or two to keep you warm.
Enchanting services
Sorry,
are one of the
Sergius.
few
I have
things that
fixed
keep us
your
in touch
wound
with the
and-
rest of Skyrim.
Think your face, good lord. Is there any college business I can assist with?
I need some more supplies. Can you help out with that?
did you say you needed?
I'm running low on common soul gems. 10 more would keep me stocked for a bit.
Okay.
Until next time.
Oh, there's still Deer's a limbic.
Restoration is a perfectly valid school of magic, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
How'd that training in restoration
I'll
magic?
gladly share my knowledge with you.
She can't train higher than 70? Wow. Okay.
Until next time.
That's my Vandal playing a murder game. That is Vandal and Ash playing a murder game.
I need your help with something private.
Is something wrong?
Yes, but it needs to be kept quiet. I may have entered into an agreement with Enther. He had something I needed, so I traded him something of mine. It was a mistake, and now I want back what I gave him. It's an amulet that belonged to my family, and I never should have given it to Enther. But he won't deal with me. Talk to him. See what it'll take to get my amulet back. All right, then.
If you have a moment, could you help me with something?
Do you like it here at the college?
So far. If only because no one is telling me how great I ought to be. I just want to learn. I don't want to think about what's expected of me.
What do you need help with?
We're all trying to become better mages, right? Well, I need someone I can practice a few spells on. Nothing dangerous, really. Would you be willing to assist me?
Okay, I'll help.
Oh, good. I was afraid I'd have to go ask J'zargo. Now, you just stand there. Please hold still, and don't move. There. Now Oh dear. That wasn't supposed to happen. Do you feel all right? You look very, green.
I'm paralyzed, I
I
can't.
am so very sorry. I went over this again and again, and I was sure it would have better results.
Tell me this isn't permanent.
It's not. It shouldn't be. You'll be back to normal in no time. And when you are, we can try this again, and I'll be sure to get it right.
Sure.
All right then.
I'm not green. Okay.
I still need
Because
some
it's
help.
not easy
If you
being
can
green.
spare the time.
But my vision is blurry, right? What's happening here? So now?
Isabel's bit. What did Berlina do here? You're green.
Yeah. But I'm not. Yeah, no.
I'm always on the lookout for all sorts of goods. Bring me whatever you, well, find, and I'll see what I can do.
I understand you have something of Arnie's.
Oh dear. He's so afraid to talk to me, he's sending you to do it? I should have expected as much. I'm afraid you've been a little misinformed. I have something of mine that I was going to sell to Arniel. With all due respect, Archmage, I'm not in a position to just give this away. I told Arniel what I wanted in exchange for it, and he was unwilling to come up with it. Now, if you're here on his behalf, I'm afraid I'm going to have to insist on my original payment.
Oh, he's a fence. Haha. What is it you want?
I have a friend, let's say, who's interested in a staff. A particular one. It's nothing dangerous, so don't worry. I'm not even sure why he wants it, but then that's not really my concern. He's willing to pay for it. The problem is that it'll be a little difficult to acquire, seeing as how it's in the hands of someone who isn't exactly friendly. So you bring that staff back here, and I'll consider it payment for the item Arniel was after.
I understand you have something on the ornaments. He wants it back.
Oh my, how precious. Onmund is too afraid to deal with me himself, and so he's sent you. I'll make this very simple for you. All my trades are final. Onmund knew this ahead of time and went through with it anyway. So there's nothing more to be said.
It's in everyone's best interest if you return the ornament.
Oh, I suppose, but you keep this to yourself. I don't want it being known that I go back on my trades. Understand?
What's not allowed here?
Purposely killing your fellow college members is a bad idea. I'd advise against it. Theft and assault can get you into trouble as well. As for research, well, a sufficient explanation will cover almost anything. If you're going to need live test subjects for your experiments, it's easier to do that off of college grounds.
How's business?
Business? Business is actually inconsequential to me. I share little of your lust for coin.
Excuse me?
However, as promised, I'll still be more than happy to take any stolen merchandise off your hands.
Oh,
Give my regards to Carlia if you see her.
Wow. What is happening here? The tome contains a catalog of Tamrielic flora and fauna with alchemical indications with information regarding location, abundance, and properties. And a big splat of goo. Goo. Okay. My vision's still blurred, so Romeo's spell is still doing its thing, it seems. Yeah, I'm not talking to Miria. She's a little bit off.
I'm pretty sure I woke up saying her name this morning. I don't remember what I was dreaming about.
Okay,
Damn,
that's
it left
both
me
floors,
smiling.
right? Yeah, okay. Alright.
Chasing after Onmund's locker is too...
Yes?
Yeah, I already had that conversation.
Thanks to you, the people of Skyrim will continue to have a place to study magic, even if most of them resent you for it.
Right? Here's your amulet.
I didn't think he'd really give it back. Thank you, friend. It's good to know I can count on you.
Is it difficult being away from your family?
Not at all. I consider it a blessing. My family was convinced coming here was a death sentence, or worse. It took years of insisting that this is what I'm meant to do.
Why do Nords have a problem with the college?
Well, look at the evidence. Nords generally don't trust magic, so it's not off to a good start. Throw in the Oblivion Crisis, which was caused by magic users, and the troubles now with the Aldmeri Dominion, who are elves and magic users. And finally, take the fact that the college is the only thing left standing after most of Winterhold was destroyed. It's all fairly damning. I'd better get going.
To all you guys. I don't see Ferelda. So she's over here. Daniel. In here. Oops. Okay, everybody's here but Ferelda. Did something bad happen to Ferelda? Can I talk to you? Yeah. Alright, well, possibly Ferelda died. Oh, I can give, Hector back a little bit. I wonder if he immediately
Always
asked me to
available
find it
should you
again.
need me, Archmage.
Found what you were looking for.
Ah, yes, there it is. Thank you so much.
Is there anything more I can learn about alteration magic?
At this very moment? No. However, well, I've been working on something. An improvement on the Ebony Flesh spell. I've made progress, but then hit a snag. I think perhaps you could help.
What's the problem?
I need dragon scales, and not just any dragon scales. As I've said, I made some progress using the essence of dragon scales, but they're just not quite potent enough. My knowledge of Skyrim's history is far from complete, but I did some research and discovered two things. First, there are ancient references to dragon heart scales. What little I've learned suggests they may be what I need. Second, there are stories of a dagger called Cavazine's Fang, said to be sharp enough to carve
I happen to
individual
have that in my
scales off a
inventory.
dragon. First, you'll need to retrieve the dagger, then use it to carve a few scales off a dragon. Presumably, this is fun.
Yeah. I'll return shortly with the dragon scales.
That would be wonderful. I'll be sure and have everything ready. This is exciting, isn't it? Spells and incantations for those with the talent to cast them.
By all the spells I haven't learned yet.
Nasty business with that Americano fellow. Pity that I was unable to assist, but I was otherwise occupied.
Uh-huh.
So you wish to master the arcane arts? Until next time.
Enchanting services are one of the few things that keep us in touch with the rest of Skyrim. Until next time.
You have questions?
So I'm just
Take a
checking
look.
what they have for sale. If there's anything I don't have. Chisargo.
You are new, yes? Have you mastered the expert level distraction spells yet?
Not yet, but I will.
Ah, this is good. But Jizargo will know them first. It is good to finally be around mages who may be able to keep up with Jizargo.
Oh, why did you become a student at the college?
Mages in Cyrodiil are all about politics. The Synod and the College of Whispers are too busy guarding secrets to bother to teach. Skyrim was not Jizargo's first choice, but Winterhold is removed from politics, dedicated to study. This is the place for Jizargo to become great.
Not everything's a competition, you know.
Oh, but you are wrong. The only reason you could disagree is because you are losing so badly you cannot see it.
I see. You seem very sure of yourself.
There is much for Jizargo to be sure of. There is skill in magic, there is charm, and there is a strong will. Jizargo will be successful. Of this there is no doubt.
He's supposed to offer a quest, but he isn't. So, okay.
Perhaps we can go another few decades without a disaster. That would be nice.
Restoration is a perfectly valid school of spells and incantations for those with a talent to cast them.
The Eye of Magnus, here but lost. Slipped through our grasp. Spells and incantations for those with the talent to cast them. Until next time.
Okay. Only a spell has worn off. I'm gonna try also going to go talk to anybody using the Arcanium and start picking up quests from Urag. I think she's added by Legacy the Dragonborn, but I'm not sure.
All this knowledge might have been lost were it not for you.
At least he said something nice finally. What have you got for sale?
Please make sure your hands are clean before touching anything, all right?
Sure. Histories of strange pre-marriage? Okay. Pretty sure I already have these, but they're probably in storage. Yeah, I'll come back here later. Are there any special books you're looking for?
As a matter of fact, there are. Have you ever heard of Shalador? Immensely powerful mage, back in the First Era. Had an understanding of magic few have ever matched. He holed himself up in Labyrinthian, and devoted all his time to research and study, but more than you would imagine possible. Since then, his writings have been scattered all over Skyrim, but are little use to anyone who can't translate them. I'm one of the few who can. I've heard whispers of more of his work having turned up. If you can track it down, it may prove useful to all of us.
Is there any college business I can assist with?
If you're feeling adventurous, I'm always looking for someone to procure valuable books from some more dangerous locations.
I'm ready for some adventure.
Well, all right. Here. I scribbled down the last place I'd heard about. Check it out, but be careful.
You take your work very seriously.
Of course I do. If I didn't, most of these books would have been burned to ashes or dissolved to nothing before the Third Era. Mages need to be reminded to be careful around research materials. All right, then.
Okay, I don't have copies of these books, so I'm gonna steal them.
Sometimes, I wonder if we really need...
I still need some help, if you can spare the time.
Your spell finally wore off.
Exactly as I said it would. Now, are you ready to try again? I am confident it will work this time.
Turn the sound up a little bit. Not sure why, but OBS mutes the sound, so I don't know, maybe I just need to turn the volume up on my OBS? She says several hundred hours in. Okay, you can try again.
This will be worth it.
Sure.
Okay, now don't move at all. Oh my. That isn't right. Just wait. I can fix this.
Okay.
Oh no,
Hands are
that's
bound.
not it at all. Let me try again.
This is how the last batch of
This
missing
really isn't turning out the way I
apprentices
hoped.
went.
I'll get it right this time. I swear.
Really not experimented on them. I think you're supposed to be turning into different things. I'm not sure. I'm not getting the illusion forms here. Oh, I'm a cow. Oh,
There.
okay. That's
All
me.
better. Well, it all worked out in the end, didn't it?
It's been a pleasure.
Oh, no, it hasn't. Let's be honest. I have a long way to go before I'm ready for the kind of advanced magic I've been attempting. But at least I know where to start now. Thank you. You've been a great help to me.
Winterhold used to be full of dark elves?
Didn't you know? Before the Oblivion Crisis, many elves called Winterhold their home. More visited the college from Morrowind every year. After, growing distrust of magic made life difficult for many. Some left rather than endure the growing hatred from the local Nords. Others returned home after the Red Year, when Vardenfell erupted and caused much destruction. Winterhold itself died in the years between then and now. What's left out there is a husk. Only the college really remains. All
I saw
right
an
then.
interesting theory today on Reddit about some of the lore.
It's a fine day with you around.
That it was Malin who caused the collapse.
Damn shadows sometimes.
Malin and his interference
How do you move
in
about so
the
silently?
with the Azura star, the black star. The theory was that Azura oh, I have to wear the gloves, right? Where are they? Mystic tuning gloves. That Malin caused the problem by his experiments. Now, the theory was based on the fact that who's the dark elf at the tavern that urges you not to give it back to Azura. He says something about, do you know how many lives were caught that were nothing to the Daedra, and that Azura is essentially not a good guy. Of the concept there, and which is true. I mean, Azura punished all of Dark Elves, every Dark Elf, for just being a Dark Elf by turning their skin ashen after the tribunal did what they did and sought godhood on their own. Amalexius, Sithasil, and Vivek. So Azura is perfectly capable of being thoroughly vengeful. So the theory was that is it Nelakar? Forgive me, I'm a little lost here on the names.
The Eye of Magnus, here but lost. Slipped through our grasp. Oh, what we might have learned.
Focal points have been cleansed.
Yes, they have. I can feel the difference already. But, of course, I'm far more in tune with these sorts of things than most. Thank you. I appreciate your assistance.
I'm pretty sure he's already trained me.
I shall explain to you the mysteries of the Outer Realms.
Nope, he's trained me as far as I can go. Okay.
Until next time.
Now, another player took that theory, so another player feels that and I've always felt this way myself, that the writing is so inconsistent in so many specific ways that it's very possible that the Black Star, the Malin storyline...
Do me a favour. Don't ever be Relina's test subject again. Next time you might get stuck with a cow tail or chicken feathers.
Yeah, that was unpleasant. Yeah, I think I didn't have the camera turned on to me, but I think I was like a cow and probably a goat and a chicken.
They are counted upon every bit as much as candlelight or invisibility. But more important.
So this is an aspect of the... Oh, Feralda. Hey.
We all have you to thank for saving the college. Your position is well deserved.
I like training in destruction magic.
I can teach you, but I won't be held responsible for what you do with the knowledge.
Nice. Oh, and she's a master trainer, so she can train me all the way to 100. Nice. Okay. Master of Destruction. Let me... Is there any... what else can be learned about destruction magic?
I dare say you've learned all I can teach you. But that doesn't mean there isn't more out there.
What do you mean?
Over the years, I've heard things. Powerful magics lost to the ages. Incredible spells that only the most skilled mages can master. This is the only thing I've ever found. I think it's better off in your hands.
What have you got for sale?
So, you wish to master the arcane arts?
So I am learning the ways of destruction. I don't think I've ever done a full destruction playthrough. But my new character is going to go full Nord, except for a few exceptions. She will favor ice magic, because Nord, and she is magically talented.
Mm-hmm.
Which kind of drove her away from Skyrim for a while. So her story shaped up. She was born with a magical gift as a Nord, but she was trained as a shield maiden, so one-handed and shield. And she left to travel and learn and okay. To heal. Urag's note. Book, The Waters of Oblivion. Location. Can't read it yet. Somewhere Grove. Shrouded? Shrouded Grove, okay. Power of the Elements. I'm not sure what this is. Northward haunted northern coastline, and south Dwemer live in toil. A simple place, a shield from draft. At this stand, wield mage's craft. So fierce the sea will bore. Okay, so there's a puzzle, huh? So someone else's theory in combination with the, I think it's Nellikar and Malin. Nellikar at the, he ended up leaving the college because of Malin. But his story seems to have much more to it. And someone else's theory is that the original story likely involved the mages in real time destroying Winterhold, which makes much more sense considering it's been like 200 years and nothing actually, got fixed, which never made any sense. So in theory, there would be a normal Winterhold, normal college, no flood. And then as the story progresses, Azura's Star and Inanalta's Deep, which is where Malin was. Where is that? Where'd it go? Where'd you go? Okay. So the concept was from those two theories that the original writing involved Malin causing Azura to be so angry that Inanalta's Deep was sunk and the college itself was swamped.
That was excellent.
Well, it was an interesting conversation that had a bunch of research and That actually makes both those theories actually make a lot more sense to me than the story as it is, that it's somehow been 200 years. So it does look like I'm going with retcon. It does look like it was a retcon that changed during. So games do that. Even Mass Effect, it's Mass Effect 2 has this whole like dark energy story which never goes anywhere. And it was supposed to be the original storyline. Tally doesn't join you because it's so important, and then they just drop it. So yeah, Winter holds okay. I'm gonna read this since I'm gonna have to turn it in, huh? The Waters of Oblivion. 120 numbered ages in the void that fated folk had grown deep-schooled. 120 numbered ages in the void that fated folk had grown deep-schooled in evil. Then the bright gods resolved to punish those faithless spirits and shatter the unruly caitiffs, these huge unholy scalers, loathsome to the light, who repented exceedingly that they had gazed upon oblivion and seen there the first of dark kin, and welcomed them as brothers and sisters. The principalities of victory beheld how great was the wickedness of the wayward spirits, and saw that they were bold in sin and full of wiles. They resolved then to chasten the tribes of Daedra and smite the dark kind with hammer in hand. But ever shall darkness contest the light, and great were the powers that breathed the void and laid waste upon one another, and no oath might bind them. So deep were they in envy and perfidy. For once the portals are opened, who shall shut them upon the rising tide? Okay. So yeah, I think that's now my canon, essentially, that there's a combination of baked-in writing in the game and what enemies are nearby.
Fan-fucking-tastic.
Get me. Okay.
Fuck right off.
While I'm here, I might as well. Get the beacon. And there's a new place over here I haven't discovered, so. Orvan Dunes. Let's just go and see what happens. Oh, I'm gonna discover this location over here. Probably a carriage stop for home.
You've got nothing on the Dragonborn.
Yeah, Hellshark and carriage stop. Hello. Hey, puppy.
You bloody did it.
Yeah, I ignored that one because it looked like Miko, and on my other playthrough, I've got Miko again, so. Okay, Orvanjund. Let's see.
It's a bit bloody chilly.
You bring evil upon the world. Bring evil is defeated.
Is someone there? You want to do this the hard way? Fine. You can go to hell.
Ow!
So yeah, my new character is using ice magic, sword and shield, which are two things I've never done. So high difficulty,
You won't win this.
but with a squad.
Orioles, arsehole. I'm in right now. Lucky hit. They never learn.
So I have finished watching someone play Arena, and I have nearly finished watching someone play Daggerfall, and I am intensely grateful. I did not choose to play those games myself. I've picked up some lore, but it's not worth the time to. I mean, it's just better to read a description. It is a very old, repetitive. These are old, repetitive, and not very well written games. They're not brilliant. What? Seriously, it? What? What even is this place? Alright. To be clear, there's nothing here. Okay, I'm not sure where am I? Kor Van Yund Temple. Huh. Okay. Oh, alright. Yeah, this is part of Civil War. And I'm not going to be doing that. Although, I might later in a different playthrough, but I'm not going to this time. I'm committed to neutrality in this one. But I am going to play a Thalmor. I am going to play a Thalmor that sides with the Imperials, which I have never done. And I think that's going to be a combo evil playthrough and side with the Empire. But it is interesting to watch I mean, even the game writers really haven't kept track of a lot of stuff. There's a lot of lore inconsistencies and retcons. I mean, it's The whole Tiber Septim thing is very strange, mostly because Tiber Septim is, worshipped as Talos, but the guy himself wasn't all
Archmage or
that
not,
great.
my rules about books still stand. All this knowledge might have been lost were it not for you.
Here's the book you were looking for.
Looks like you're still in one piece. And more importantly, so is the book. Thank you.
Okay.
Fight
Alright,
well.
I'm not really going to be picking up those Radiant quests. I'm going to go through the list of what I've got right now and then circle back if I need to. I need the Staff of Magnus, don't I? I'm gonna load one. Let's just assume that I went back to the college, went back and got it, and Oh, I can take a nap in the Archmage's. Oop, nope, that's not what it. Nope, that's okay. I can nap here. So yeah, oh, but they, okay, sorry. They won't have a bath, I don't believe. We'll have to see. Don't think so. But I don't actually need one. I just want one. Okay. Okay, that goes down the Arcanium. That goes up to Skyrim, so there's no bath there. Yeah, this is the immersive college, not JK's, which has a tendency to... Oh, I'm auto-loading everything. Okay. Yeah, that weird ghost texture stuff is why I kind of had to do away with this in my next playthrough. Some of the stuff is just placed strangely. Might have been that my version of immersive college just really didn't have a good day. So I blame me, but so yeah, Tiber Septim is, supposed to be this amazing guy, but they completely blur through, like, who knows what Jagar Tharn did, what time it was. It's just a really weird storyline. Oh, I don't think I've ever looked at this. Freaky clock. Yeah, checks out. Tortoise. 9 p.m. Boy, that is not easy to read. Okay. So it's very difficult for me with lore to really get behind any worship of Talos. Because Tiber Septim wasn't that great of a guy. Wow, okay. Yeah, that's not good. He hated his wife, had a bastard son.
Let's have a drink or eat something.
Ironically, the bastard son, played by Sean Bean, the most likely person to die ever in history. Do I look all archmagey and shit? Do I? Kind of hunched over. Poor posture, honey. Sit up. Sit up straight. This throne doesn't have the, like, indolent, indolent animation that, Jarl thrones usually have. Poison Song, Volume 4. By Bristinsa. Hakra sat by the hearth in Tay's room, reading her book by the fire. It concerned some minutiae of theosophy that she did not believe in, but nevertheless found morbidly compelling. When the door opened and she heard Tay enter, she finished the paragraph she was reading before looking up. I've been here for hours, darling. If I knew you were going to be late, I would have brought more books. She giggled. When she saw Tay's face and the state of his clothing, her manner lost all frivolity. What happened to you? Are you all right? I've been to see my old childhood nursemaid, Ediba, he said in a strange voice. There was a sudden change of plans. I hadn't realized she was in Mournhold. I wish I'd known where you were going, she said, rising slowly from her chair. I would have loved to have met her. Well, it's too late now. They've killed her. Akra inhaled deeply, studying Tay's frozen face. She took his hand. Perhaps you ought to tell me everything. Tay let his beloved lead him to the hearth, where he sat blinking at the fire. He looked down at the silver ring on his finger. Before I killed her, she gave me this. It's the sealing ring of the house, Dagoth. She told me I was the bearer of the inheritance, and the song I hear all the time in my head, the one that called me to kill another boy when I was young, and then Ediba herself, is the song of my ancestors. Tay fell silent. Akra knelt by his side, stroking his ringed hand. Tell me more. My tutor, Kinagafrisi, taught us that the house Dagoth was a curse, a Morrowind. He said that when we were all destroyed at the end of the war, the very earth itself breathed new relief. Take those desires. I can see the obliteration. I can even hear it in the song. Ediba told me that the 5 houses adopted the orphan children of Dagoth, raising them in their own traditions. I thought she was mad or a liar, but the real lie was all those years I thought my family was House Indra. What are you going to do? Akra whispered. Well, Ediba told me to follow the song to my destiny. Tay laughed bitterly. But the song led me to kill her, so I don't know if she'd still give me that recommendation now. I know that I need to leave Mournhold. Before I knew what I was doing, I set a fire in her tenement. The guards were called. I just don't know where I'd go. You have many friends to shield you if you prove yourself to be the new leader of the Return of the 6th House. Akra kissed the ring. I will help you find them. Tay stared at her. Why would you help me? When you thought I was your cousin of the House Inderwild, you did not mind having me, though it might well have been incestuous. Akra replied, meeting his eyes. I've heard the song too. It is not as strong with me as it was with you, but I never chose to ignore it. It taught me more than the ridiculous temple priests and priestesses ever could. I know that my true name was Dagoth Akra, and I knew that I had a brother. No, Tay said through gritted teeth. You're lying. You are Dagoth Typhon. Tay shoved Akra hard against the wall and ran from the room. As he fled through the hall, he heard the sound of Calcorith's footfall on the stairs behind him, a percussive instrument in the song that was rising in his heart and head. Cousin, the senior initiate was saying, have you heard about the fire? Tay unsheathed his dagger and turned, burying it to the hilt in Calcorith's throat. Cousin, he hissed, I am not your cousin. The streets of Mournhold were lit by the red glow of the tenement fire, spreading through the tight alleyways by a steady and intense gust of wind. It was as if Dagoth himself was looming over the city, fanning the flames his heir had struck. A house guard running toward the blaze stopped at the sight of Tay, standing uncertainly, swaying before the front door of Calcorith's house, a bloody blade in his hand. What have you done, Serja? Tay ran for the forest, his cape whipping behind him by the force of the howling wind. The guard clambered after him, sword drawn. He had no need to investigate the house to see the murder. He knew. For hours, Tay raced through the wilderness, the song pushing him forward. The sound of the pursuers faded away. The sound of his pursuer faded away. At last the trees thinned, and he saw nothing before him but air and water, a cliff, 100-foot-long plunge into the inner sea. The song told him no. It pulled him north, sweetly promising a place to rest among friends. More than friends, people who would worship him as the heir of Dagoth. As he slowly walked toward the edge of the cliff, the song became more threatening, warning him not to seek to avoid his fate. There was no escape in death. Tay spat a curse upon his house and threw himself headfirst over the cliff. There was another glorious day on the island of Gorn, the first one in weeks that Baynara could truly enjoy. Uncle Triffith had important company, housemen from far away, and she had been required to attend every dinner, every meeting, every ceremony. As a child, she remembered she had hoped for some attention. Now, nothing was more blissful than time away from her duties. There was only one thing she wanted to do, she had to do indoors, and that was writing a letter to her cousin. That could wait until the evening, she told herself. After all, he had not written her in many days. It was the influence of that girl, Akra. Not that she seemed disagreeable, but Baynara knew how one's first love can be all-consuming. At least, she had read about it. As she walked idly through the wildflower meadow, Baynara was so distracted with her thoughts that she did not hear her maid, Hilima, calling. She was quite startled when she turned to see the young servant running up. "Sergio," she said breathlessly, "please come. Someone has washed up on the shore. It's your cousin, Sergio Indorete." Volume 5. By Brustinzel. For 2 days, the house healers attended Tay in his bed, and Baynara sat by his side, holding his hand. He was feverish, neither asleep nor awake, screaming at invisible phantoms. The healers complimented the young man's fortitude. Bodies had washed ashore on the island of Gorn several times, many during the war, but never once had they seen one that lived afterward. Aunt Ulia came in several times to bring Baynara food. "You must be careful, dear, or when he's all well, he'll have to attend you on your sickbed." Tay's fever broke, and at last he was able to open his eyes and see the young woman with whom he had spent 17 years, all but the first year of his life. She smiled at him and called for food. In silence, she helped him eat. "I knew you wouldn't die, cousin," she whispered fondly. "I hoped to, but somehow I knew I wouldn't either," he groaned. "Then, you remember all those nightmares I told you about? They're all true. We can talk about it when you've rested some more." "No, I must tell you everything now, so you'll know what kind of a monster you call your dear cousin, Tay. If there was some way you could have known before, you might not have been so eager to see me well again." A tear rolled down Baynara's cheek. She had grown into a beauty, even in the few months he'd been away in Mournhold. "How can you think I would stop loving you, no matter what you've done?" I saw my old nursemaid Edaba and spoke to her. Oh. Baynara had feared this moment. "Tay, I don't know what she told you, but it was all my fault. You remember what Kiana Grafisi taught us about the House Dagoth and its corruption? That night I saw your nursemaid making some kind of altar out on the north lawn, using the symbol of the 6th house. She must have been doing it for years, but I never knew what it meant. I told Uncle Triffith, and he sent her away. I've wanted to tell you so many times now, but I was afraid. She was so devoted to you." Tay smiled. "And didn't it frighten you even more to wonder if there was any connection between her devotion to me and her devotion to the accursed house? I know you, Baynara. You're not one of those women who doesn't choose to use her mind." "Tay, I don't know what she told you, but I think she was very troubled, and whatever she thought about you in the 6th house was wrong. You have to remember that. The ramblings of one mad woman are proof of nothing." "There's more." Tay sighed and held up his hand. For a moment he blinked and then turned to Baynara angrily. "What happened to my ring? If you saw it, you must have known already that everything I'm saying to you is true." "I threw the filthy thing away." Baynara stood up. Tay, I'm going to let you rest now. I am the heir of House Dagoth. Tay was wild-eyed, almost screaming, raised after the war as House Indoril, but driven by the song of my ancestors. When we were young, I killed Vaster because the song told me he had stolen my inheritance. When Oedipus told me who I was and gave me this ring, I killed her and burned her house to the ground because the song told me she had served her purpose. When I returned to Calcareth's house, my love was there, telling me that she was of the house Dagoth too, and my sister. I fled, and when Calcareth tried to stop me, I slew him because the song told me he was an enemy. Tay, stop! Benara sobbed. I don't believe a word of it. You've been feverish. Not Tay. He shook his head, breathing heavily. The name my parents gave me was Dagon Tython. You can't have killed Oedipus. You loved her. And Vaster and Calcareth, they were our cousins. They were not my true cousins, Tay said. The song told me they were my foes, just as it's telling me now that you're my foe. But I won't listen, and I'll keep from listening as long as I can. Benara fled from the room, slamming the door behind her. She took a key from her startled maid. Excuse me. She took a key from her startled maid, Hilima, and secured the lock. Sergio Indoril Benara, Hilima whispered with great sympathy. Is all well with your cousin, Sergio Indoril Tay? He'll be perfectly fine once he rests. Benara recovered her dignity, wiping the tears from her face. No one is to disturb him under any circumstances. No one is to disturb him under any circumstances. I'll take the key with me. Now I have much work to do. I don't suppose anyone's spoken to the fishermen about restocking Sandal House's supplies? I don't know, Sergio, said the maid. I don't think so. Benara marched down to the docks and relieved her troubled heart the only way she knew how, by concentrating on small things. Tay's words never left her, but she found temporary comfort talking to the fishermen about their haul, helping determine how much should be smoked, how much should be sent to the village, how much should be delivered fresh to the house larder. Her Aunt Ulia joined the discussion, oblivious to Benara's well-disguised agony. Together they discussed how many provisions Uncle Triffith and his commanders had devoured during their weeks on the island, when they would be expected to return, and how best to prepare. One of the fishermen on the docks called out, interrupting. A boat is coming. Ulia and Benara greeted the visitor as she arrived. It was a young woman dressed in the robes of a temple priestess. As she docked her small boat, Benara marveled at how beautiful she was, and strangely familiar. Welcome to Guar, said Benara. I am Indoril Benara, and this is my aunt Indoril Ulia. Have we met before? I don't believe so, Sergio. The woman bowed. I was sent by the temple to inquire whether word had come from your cousin, Indoril Tay. He's been missing from his classes for some days now, and the priests have become concerned. Oh, we should have sent word, Ulia fretted. He came here a few days ago half drowned. He's better now. Let us escort you up to the house. Tay's resting now, and I asked that he not be disturbed, Benara stammered. Actually, I know it's dreadful manners, but I need to talk to my aunt for a moment. Would it be too terrible if I asked you to wait for us in the house? You have only to follow the path up the hill and cross the lawn. The priestess bowed again humbly and began the walk. Ulia was scandalized. You know better than to treat a representative of the temple that way. You can't be so exhausted from tending your cousin to have lost all sense of civility. Aunt Ulia, Benara whispered, drawing the woman away from the ears of the fisherman. Is Tay truly my cousin? He believes himself to be of the house Dagoth. Ulia took a moment to respond. It's true. You were just a baby yourself during the war, so you couldn't know what it was like. There was not a part of Mournhold that wasn't ravaged. Oh, there was not a part of Morrowind that wasn't ravaged. There was even a battle here on the island. Do you remember that burned pile of wreckage you and Tay and poor little Vaster discovered so many years ago? That was the remains. And after the war, when that accursed house was finally defeated, we saw the little innocents. The orphans whose only crime had been born to wicked parents. I admit there were some in our armies, the combined forces of the houses who would have had them all slaughtered to annihilate the legacy of Dagoth. In the end, compassion prevailed, and the children of the sixth house were adopted into the other five, and so we thought that we had won the war and the peace. By the Mother, Lord, and Wizard all, if all that Tay believes is true, then there is no peace. Bernard trembled. He claims that the song of his ancestors called to him and forced him to slay 3 people, 2 of them our housemen, cousin Calcarith, and when he was a little boy. Faster. Willia held her hands over her tearful face and could not speak. And it is only beginning, said Bernard. The song still calls to him. He said there were others who knew who would help him raise up the sixth house, his sister. It must be an evil fantasy. Elias said she noticed that Bernard's gaze was now upon the path leading from the docks toward the house. Niece, what are you thinking? Did that priestess give out her name? The 2 women ran up the path, calling for guards. The fishermen, who had never seen the mistresses of the house so undone, looked briefly at one another and then followed quickly behind, pulling out their hooks and blades. The front gate to Sandal House stood wide open, the first of the corpses lying close within. It was now an abattoir, painted fresh with blood. There was Einar, Uncle Triffitt's valet, gutted but still seated at the foyer table where he'd been enjoying his afternoon glass of flint. Lerny, one of the chambermaids, had been decapitated while carrying some once clean linens up the stairs. The bodies of guards and servants sprawled about the... The bodies of guards and servants sprawled about the hall like blown leaves. At the top of the stairs, Benara had to hold back a sob when she saw Helima. She lay like a broken doll, slain as she tried to pull herself out of the narrow window ledge. Onto the narrow window ledge. No one spoke, not Benara, nor Uncle Ulia, nor the fisherman, as they walked slowly through the blood-drenched house. They passed Tay's sick room, its door broken open, and no one within. When they heard the sound of footsteps in Benara's room below the hall, they approached slowly, cautiously, with great dread. The priestess from the docks was standing by the bed. In her hand was the silver ring Benar had taken from Tay's finger. In her other hand was a long, curved blade, splashed, like her once pristine gown, with gore. She smiled prettily and bowed when she saw she was no longer alone. Akra, I should have recognized you by Tay's description in his letters, Benar said. Benar said in her... Okay. Alright. Akra, I should have recognized you by Tay's description in his letters, Benara said in her steadiest voice. Where? He's my cousin. I prefer to call myself Dagoth, Akra, she replied. Your false cousin, my true brother, has already gone to fulfill his destiny. I'm sorry you were not here so he could give you a more permanent farewell. Benara's face twisted in fury. She motioned for the fishermen who advanced with their weaponry. Tear her apart. The sixth house will rise again, and Dagoth Python will lead us. Akra laughed. Her words were still echoing as she gave the sign of recall and vanished like a ghost. So these are probably sign of recall. I don't remember. Did Oblivion have recall? So yeah, I'm gonna have to see which books are from which expansion. Person I'm watching play Daggerfall isn't reading the books. Which is okay. I really don't want that game to take any longer than it's already taken. say Dawnstar? Alright, I'm just gonna head to Dawnstar and see if anything triggers. There's something in Dawnstar anyway. I've forgotten how to Skyrim. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, it's got a dark marker. Yeah, so that story might have taken place during, like, the Daggerfall time period. Or after. Oh. Alright. Let me look up this quest and its location.
All for sale at fair prices.
It's Fridas. Let's go round every tavern in Skyrim and drink our fill until Sundas, aye?
Goods and wares of all kinds, and all can be yours.
It has been a profitable journey, and yet I long for the warm sands of elsewhere more and more.
Oh wow.
I feel the same. I do not think Khajiit were made for the cold. Come and see what goods I have.
Not only that, but these Nords have no love for us. They look upon us and see only thieves and
Oh
smugglers.
wow, okay. I think it's in... I think it's here. But... they're not gonna tell me. Weird.
Today's found you well, Thane.
Yo. Hello, invisible boat that doesn't exist in my life anymore. So freaky. Okay. Yeah, it... weird. I might have to go back and... yeah, there are several spots that this could be. I thought it was Dawnstar. Weird. I'm just gonna go swimming real quick. I'm dirty. I'm smelly. I know, I'm cold. Like really, really cold. Okay. Oof. Alright, I will have to go back to speak to Tolfdir and then see if he can give me much more specific directions. Alright. This also doesn't have a marker. Wow, okay. I am going back to Hobbs Fall Cave for like the 6th time.
Your lips look cold, should I warm them a little bit?
I am so sorry, Kaidan. Kaidan. It was a mistake.
Did you hear something?
Oh, Kaidan, I'm sorry. That was a mistake. Oopsies.
What do you want my screamer for? Why do you even have that?
I did a little bit of research on Poison Song, which just meant finding some people on Reddit talking about it. The series of books that has the Indril and Dagoth story that we're reading. We're just about to the last books. I think there's 7 in the series, unless I haven't found the last one. It looks like it was introduced during Oblivion. So, as I was saying, you know, they were talking about having a ring of recall. That's an Oblivion. No, not Oblivion. That's a Morrowind thing. So it was introduced during Morrowind. It's been available probably I'm not sure what. See, the weird thing that I'm not sure about is when you look at a list of books, some of them are in blue, some of them are in yellow. So Poison Song is in blue, and a lot of the other books or even notes are in yellow. So I'm not really sure what that means. I thought that it was base game and later game, you know, and mod stuff, but I could be wrong about that. Several things in Poison Song are just off. Bo is very upset. Hey, Bo. It's okay, baby. Probably things in the yard not being the way he would like them to. The leaves are wrong or something. A couple of things. The little kids were playing, like, The Fall of Orsinium, which is out of sequence for the storyline.
So did Carlia send you again, or are you here on your own this time?
Here's the staff you wanted.
Well. All right. You delivered on your end, so I'll deliver on mine. Here's the gem Arniel was after. Can't imagine what he expects to do with that. It's warped beyond any ability to capture a soul.
I'm shocked that Arniel is doing something warped.
Perhaps we can go another few decades without a disaster. That would be nice.
I got the soul gem you were after.
Do you? Wonderful. I was afraid I'd have to give up. And when I'm so close. Thank you for this. I have a great deal of work ahead of me.
But Cesargo could still use some help.
What did you need help with?
Cesargo has seen that Toftir likes you.
I'm the...
You must be very skilled with magic, yes?
Yeah, I'm the... Okay.
Cesargo is working hard, but cannot do it alone. Can you help with this?
Exactly what kind of help do you need?
Cesargo has worked hard on learning new spells, trying new things. This will make Cesargo stand out as a mage.
All the spell
But
effects
Cesargo works so hard, there is no time to test these new spells. If you help with the testing, this will make learning easier. Cesargo will give you scrolls. You will use them and report the results. This is a good plan, no? You tell Cesargo when you are ready.
Cesargo, I am ready. Alright, I'll help you. Give me the scrolls.
Ha! You can resist, can you? Let's see.
God,
This one, I think. Cesargo
I would
has
like to
designed
like
it to be
you,
an
but it's
excellent
hard.
flame cloak with a twist. It is especially potent against the undead and should burn them to a crisp in no time. Cesargo gives you plenty of these scrolls, so you try them and return when you can say whether they work.
Okay. Hey, Vandal, come on up. Hey. Okay, got a kitty. Alright. So, yeah, I was saying about the...
Cesargo awaits word of how well his scrolls work.
Okay, Cesargo. I want to like you, but I really don't. Kind of a jerk. Okay, Tolfdir, I need to talk to him and see if he can tell me again, more specifically...
Good to see Skyrim still has such fine people. You give an old man hope.
Is there anything I should be aware of?
Actually, yes, Archmage. I believe there is. We've been contacted by the Jarl of Dawnstar.
Okay, it was Dawnstar.
It would seem there's some sort of disturbance. From what few details we were given, it sounds quite familiar. I suspect that the power released by the Eye of Magnus was not fully contained. I do hope you still have the Staff of Magnus someplace.
Okay, that's all we get.
I suspect you're going to
Dawnstar. Okay. Yeah, we tried that. Alright, so, the Poison Song... Okay. I need to go kill dragons. Yeah. The Poison Song has several inaccuracies for the Oblivion era. It was talking about Orsinium, which is not the right time scale. It was talking about the life of Gaijin Shinji, which was not the right time scale. Oh, sorry. Car just passed and everybody loses their mind. It's relatively quiet here, so when we hear things, we jump off laps and then we growl. If you're a dog or a cat. Okay, Chalador's writings. Broken Old Grotto? Nazi? Trying to use Poison Song historically as a guide to anything sort of leads nowhere. It's just a mishmash of words that don't have much to do with the timeline, so it is a lore mess. With our people trying to do analysis, basically saying treat it as a work of fiction. So I think there's some analysis in the books here too that we're talking about Dwemer tales, which were essentially just folk stories cast as Dwemer. So I'm not clear on all the retconning and all the weirdness involved, but it does seem pretty weird.
We knocked his lights out. He told us to put the light out, so we did. Moving on.
Okay, I find that pretty inappropriate. This is lights out, but he's sort of ignoring the fact that if we did turn off the lighthouse, which we did, it would have gotten many people murdered. I don't see what's particularly funny about that, but okay. Kaidan really has to accept a whole bunch of evil crap in this game, I suppose, if you're actually doing it. In my new playthrough, I am not pickpocketing, not stealing, telling everybody essentially to fuck off if they're evil, if not flat out kicking them. She's a bit righteous about the world. Part of the problem with that is, there we go. Oh, in the sunk, that's where the sunken boat is. All right. Yeah, I couldn't find this before, huh? Now we have the chest key from the last time that we were in here, and we didn't find it. Shalador's Insights. Alright, let's read that because we're going to be handing it in. Oh, well, it's just a bunch of scribbly notes in code. Okay. Alright, I am looking for a teleport that's relatively close to Winterhold. Safe house it is. Okay, I'm gonna try Dawnstar again. See if I can find the thing. So I think the only piece of lore that I really picked up from Daggerfall, watching someone play Daggerfall, is to tie in when we meet Sheogorath to get the Wabbajack. He says something about who sent you, no let me guess. And then he says, what, little Tim the Toymaker's son, but he also says King Lysandus' ghost, which is part of Daggerfall. So through that excruciating whole thing, I learned something. Also learned that Orsinium... Let me see if I could speak to the Jarl. I don't know.
I've been looking for you. Got something I'm supposed to deliver. Your hands only. Let's see here. Looks like that's it. Got to go.
Letter from Orion. Okay, we were waiting for this. We've managed to find a definite lead on the location of a single temple to Trinimac that once stood in the hills to the southwest of Skyrim. We've taken the liberty and set out to establish an excavation camp. If you would travel southwest from Warwickstead or along the south road toward Markarth, you will find a site located in the foothills between Valthum and Dushnik Yal, just east of Argentams. Oryx. Okay. Okay, buddy. Edward!
Nope.
Edward?
Sorry. Nothing.
I just want you to be on my way. Where's Edward? Oh, Edward's hunting, so...
There it is again, that fucking smile. I'll never get enough of it.
Look at how beautiful that is. Dawnstar's pretty ugly, but look at that. It's nearing sunset. Even you, invisible boat. Alright, I'm gonna try to speak to the Jarls to see if they know where the, disturbance is, considering the Jarl reported it. I don't know if it's... This should be vanilla game, so... So all we know is Jarl and Dawnstar.
Just a servant that's called the Elder.
You're not as dumb as you look.
Whereas you are. Okay. No.
Don't bother me again unless it's important.
Oh,
I'm
just... Yeah. Joke. Ugh. So I'm moving on to watching someone play through Morrowind. You'd think a disturbance would be, you know, like, disturbing. Shit cracks me up. I don't know, with the JK's overhaul, maybe it's affecting whether anything is disturbed. I want to try to look up a better guide, because I'm pretty sure I've already run all over here. Look at the water and the sunset. Okay, let's run outside town, see if anything's more visible. But yeah, if there's a big problem, but I can't actually find it.
Kill him.
Okay, it appears this is bugged. I'm supposed to get a marked location, and I'm just not. Yeah. So I'm gonna hide this. Tried it twice. There's supposed to be marked location, and there's supposed to be magic anomalies, the same kind that we saw. And that's a shame. But yeah, the more that I think about it, and even this follow-up quest, I just think that Winterhold wasn't supposed to start destroyed. Vision of the 10th Eye. Okay. Vision of the 10th Eye is supposed to help me find the texts that I need. Okay, so not here. Probably in... okay.
Much as I didn't care for magic, there's no denying there's something about you that holds my attention every time you use it.
Alright, so I'll have to do that while I'm in Winterhold. Oh, the Dawnstar, I don't have a... oh, I can actually go to the Sanctuary, huh? We haven't been back here for a while. Let's see if there's stuff to do.
Wait to get mother some flowers.
Cicero, where are your clothes, buddy? Buddy.
Let's kill someone.
Okay.
Humble Cicero lives to serve.
I wish humble Cicero would get dressed. Poison garden. I do not know my way around here. Oh, yay! Beth. Okay. Exactly. Wow, this is a big place.
So wait, Cicero's alive? And we're all friends again? I swear, I can hardly keep up. You know I can still sell you some potions and such, or train you in alchemy.
What can you tell me about yourself?
I'm just a little girl. The Dark Brotherhood killed my mama and papa, and then they took me captive. Please, please help me. Rather convincing, don't you think? In truth, I'm no more a little girl than you are. I was once, of course, 300 years ago. Vampirism tends to keep one remarkably fresh.
Okay. You
Some may call this
useful?
junk. Me, I call them treasures.
Chokeberry. Gonna buy one of those.
Stay safe.
Okay, Babette, you can, leave my room now. Alright, Babette likes story time. It's canon. Poison Song, Volume 6. But Bristisia, the magnificent sprawl of the stronghold of Indoragnon. Yep, Indoragnon was aglow in the light of the setting sun. Commander Jazrat watched it slowly disappear into the horizon as he led the caravan southwestward. It was a strange practice for him to lead a night operation, but scarcely more bizarre than anything else he was facing. He was only 70 years of age, far from old for a Bosmer, and yet he felt like he belonged to another era. He had known the land of East Vardenfell his entire life. Every forest, every garden, every small village between Red Mountain and the Sea of Ghosts had been home to him. But now it was all different, twisted into a world he did not recognize since the eruption and the Year of Sun's death. It made night travel all the more treacherous, but it was a risk he was ordered to take. The Ashmire appeared quite suddenly. If a sharp-sighted scout hadn't seen it and given the signal, the entire caravan might have been swallowed whole. Jazrat cursed. It had not been on the map, but that was hardly surprising. It was a huge, unnamed scathe stretching as far as anyone could see. The commander considered his options. He might lead his party to the southeast, toward Tel Oraun, and then try to approach due west. As he consulted his map, he noticed a glimmer of a campfire in the distance. Accompanied by his lieutenants, Jazrat drove his guar forward to investigate what appeared to be an Ashlander man and woman. "This is no longer your realm," he bellowed. "Don't you know it's been ruled by the temple, that these are house lands now?" The couple shuffled to their feet and began quietly walking away toward a narrow ridge between hill and Ashmire. Jazrat called them back. "Do you know a way around the scathe?" he asked. They nodded, their eyes still to the ground. Jazrat signaled to his caravan. "You will lead us, then." Wow, threaten someone and then ask them to lead you? Good God. Oh, dude. It was a treacherous winding crossing, almost too tight for the guars. The wagons themselves scraped as the drivers pulled to avoid the Ashmire. The Ashlander man and woman whispered to one another as they led the caravan. "What are you mumbling about, Enoi?" Jazrat hollered. The man did not turn around. "My sister and I were talking about the Dagoth rebellion, and she was guessing that you were bringing arms to the stronghold at Fallen Serrano, which is why you chose to cross the Ashmire rather than taking a road." "I might have known," Jazrat laughed. "You Ashlanders are so hopeful whenever you see signs of trouble in the houses and the temple. I hate to dampen your spirits, but what you're speaking of is hardly a rebellion. Merely a few isolated incidents of unpleasantness. Tell your sister that." As they plodded onward, the narrow ridge began to taper even more. The Ashlanders found a low, jagged crevasse in the hills, crack from a lava flow, even predating Sun's death. The caravan scored the rock walls as it moved through. Commander Jazrat, after 20 years of uncertainty in a land he did not understand, felt a twinge of his old instinct. This, he thought to himself, would be a fine place for an ambush. "Ashlander, how close are we?" he shouted. "We've arrived," Dagoth Tython replied, and gave the signal. The assault was over in mere minutes, as it had been calculated from the start. And the last body of the house guard had sunk beneath the Ashmire. Only then was the inventory of the caravan revealed. It was better than they had hoped. Virtually everything the rebellion needed: Daedric swords, dozens of suits of armor, quivers of fine ebony bolts, and rations enough to last for weeks. "Go on ahead to the camp," Tython smiled at his sister. "I'll lead the caravan, and we should be there within a few hours' time." Akra kissed him passionately and gave the sign of recall. In an instant, she was back in her tent, exactly as she had left it. Humming the song, she removed the Ashlander rags and chose an appropriately diaphanous gown from her trunks. Precisely the sort of dress Tython would love seeing her in when he returned. "Morissa," she called to her servant, "summon the troops together. Tython and the others will be here very soon with all the weapons and rations we need." "Morissa, can't hear you now," said a voice Akra hadn't heard in weeks. She turned, expertly removed every trace of surprise from her face. It was indeed Indoril Benara, but not the quivering creature she had left behind at the massacre of Sandal House. This woman was an armored warrior who spoke with mocking confidence. "She wouldn't be able to summon the troops if she could. You may have weapons and rations, Akra, but there's no one left to arm or feed." Dagoth Akra made the sign of a call, but nothing happened. The moment we heard you banging around in the tent, my battle mages caused a diffusion of all magicka. Benares smiled, opening the tent further to invite a dozen house soldiers in. You won't believe it. If you think that my brother will walk into your trap, you underestimate his allegiance to the song. Akra sneered. It tells him everything he needs to know. I have convinced him to no longer fight it, and let it lead him and us to our ultimate victory. I've known him longer and better than you ever did, said Benara. Now, I want to hear what the song is saying to you. I want to know where I can find pay. Tython, my lady, Akra corrected her. He is no longer a slave to your house and the temple's lies. You can torture me all you wish, but I swear to you, the next time you see him, it will be because he wishes it, not you, and that will be your very last moment alive. Don't you worry, Serja. Benara's Nightblade winked at her. Everyone says they won't break under torture, but everyone always does. Benara left the tent. It was all a part of warfare. She understood that. But there would be little relish in witnessing it. She could not even watch as the house soldiers disposed of the rebel corpses. She'd hoped she would go numb to the bloodshed after weeks of following Tython and Akra, massacre after massacre. It didn't matter to her that now the bodies were of her enemies. Death was still death. She'd only been in her tent for a few minutes when her Nightblade appeared. Not so tough? Not so tough as she appeared, that one. He grinned. In point of fact, all I had to do was ask her nice and point my dagger at her belly, and she was blubbering everything. Not too surprising, really. It's always the ones that talk big that crumble fast. I remember way back a couple years before you were even born. Garen, what did she say? Benar asked. The song, whatever that is, told her brother that she got herself caught and not to return to camp. The Nightblade replied, only a trifle annoyed at having his fascinating story cut short. He's got a half-dozen men with him, and they're going to try to assassinate the fellow that led the Indoril army in the war, General Indoril Triffith. Uncle Triffith? Benar gasped. Where is he stationed now? I'm not sure myself, Sergio. Do you want me to ask if she knows? I'll come. I'll come with you, said Benar. As they walked toward Akra's tent, cries of alarm sounded. The situation became abundantly clear even before they reached the site. 3 guards were dead, and the prisoner had escaped. Interesting woman, said Garon. Weak heart, but a strong arm. Should we send word of warning to General Indoril Triffith? If we can find where he is in time, said Benar. Volume 7. Triffith stood in the parapets of Barisimain and considered the volcano. Metaphors the poets used fell rather flat in his view. A festering wound, it could be called, with its blood like lava. The King of Ash, too, could be applied, when one looked at its perpetual crown of smoke. And yet none of that would do, for nothing in his experience could convey the sheer magnitude of the mountain. Red Mountain was many miles away from the fortress, and yet it filled the horizon utterly. Before he could feel too small, however, he heard his name being called within. It was some consolation that though he was insignificant compared to the mountain, he was still in possession of certain power and influence. General Indoril Triffith, said Commander Rael, was trouble at the east gate. The trouble was scarcely more than a skirmish. An Ashlander, drunk perhaps sunshine, had begun a fight with the house guards at the back gate. As they tried to drive him away, his cousins joined him, and soon there were 6 Ashlanders, all together, brawling with a dozen of Triffith's guards. If the Enwas had not been well armed, the fight could have been finished almost before it begun. As it was, by the time the general arrived with more of his guards, 2 of the Ashlanders were dead, and the others had taken to flight. It's the smoke in their brains, Rael shrugged. Makes them mad. Triffith climbed back up the stairs and returned to his chamber to dress for dinner. General Redoran Vorik and Councillor Hlalu Notha would be arriving very shortly to discuss the temple's plans for reorganizing the houselands of Morrowind. Mournhold was to be named Amalexia. A great new city in honor of Vivek was to be built, but with whose gold? It made his head hurt. There were so many details. A long night of argument, threats, and compromises were ahead. The general's mind was so occupied that he nearly put his house robes back on backwards. He also did not notice the shadowy figure steal out from behind the tapestry and close the door to the bedchamber. It was not until Triffitt heard the sound of the latch bolt fall that he turned around. Slipped in when I was distracted by the fracas at the back gate. Very clever, Tay, he said simply. Or do you call yourself Dagoth Tython these days? You should know all my names, the young man snarled, unsheathing his sword. I was Tython before you butchered my family and sought to dispel my tribe. I was Tay when you brought me into your house to poison me against my own people. Now you may call me Vengeance. There was a knock on the door. Tython and Trilith did not move their eyes from one another. The knocking became a loud pounding. General Indral Trifith, are you well? Is there something wrong? If you're going to kill me, boy, you'd best do it quickly, Trifith growled. My men will have that door down in 2 minutes. You won't tell me what to do, Uncle, Tython shook his head. I have the song of my ancestors to instruct me. It tells me you made my father beg for his life before you killed him, and I want to see you do the same. If your ancestors are all knowing, Trifith smiled, why are they all dead? Tython made an inhuman noise in the back of his throat and advanced. The door began to buckle at the pounding, but it was sturdy and secure. The general's estimate of its life expectancy of 2 minutes seemed clearly erroneous. The pounding suddenly stopped. A familiar voice replaced the sound. Tay, called Beynar, listen to me. Tython smirked. You're just in time to hear your uncle beg for his miserable life, cousin. I was afraid you'd be too late. The next sound you hear will be the death rattle of the men who slaved my house. The song is what has enslaved you, not Uncle Trifith. You can't trust it. It's poisoning you. It let you be manipulated first by that mad old woman and now by that evil witch Akra who calls herself your sister. Tython pressed the tip of his sword so it touched the general's throat. The older man stepped backward and Tython advanced. His eyes followed the length of his arm to the grip of the blade. The silver ring of Dagoth caught the red light of the volcano from the battlements outside the window. Why would Trifith let him point the... Okay. Tay, please don't hurt anyone anymore, please. If you just listen to me and not the song for a moment, you'll know what's right. I love you. Beynar stifled her sobs to keep her voice clear and calm. There was a noise on the stairwell behind her. The general's guard had finally arrived at the battering ram. The door splintered and burst open in 2 strikes. General Indral Trifith was holding his throat, staring out the window. Uncle, are you all right? Beynar ran to him. He nodded his head slowly and removed his hand. There was only the barest of scratches on his neck. Where's Tay? He jumped out the window, said Trifith, pointing into the distance where a figure was riding the guar toward the volcano. He thought he was going to kill himself, but he had an escape figured out. We'll get him, Sergio General, said Commander Rael, calling to the guards to get their mounts. Inara watched them go and then kissed her uncle quickly and ran out to her own guar in the courtyard. By the way, if you have played Elder Scrolls Online, there is... you can ride a guar, but, I mean, like, me imagining these guys riding their guar is just, it's not majestic. It is one of the least majestic things you can ride. Sweat drenched Tay's body as he rode closer and closer toward the summit of Red Mountain. The guar was breathing hard, trudging along even more slowly, letting out little grunts of complaint about the heat. Finally, he abandoned his steed and began to climb the near vertical surface. Ash blew down the face of the volcano into his eyes. Near blind, it was almost impossible to ignore the persistent, clamorous notes of the song. A silken stream of crimson lava, studded with crystalline formations, surged a few feet away, close enough that Tay could feel his flesh begin to burn and blister. He turned from it and saw a figure emerge through the smoke. Beynar. What are you doing, Tay? She cried over the howl of the volcano. Didn't I tell you not to listen to the song? For the first time, the song and I both want the same thing, he yelled back. I can't ask you to forgive me, but please try to forget. He pulled himself higher, out of Benara's sight. She screamed his name, scaling the rocks until she found she was close to the open crater. Waves of boiling gas washed over her, and she dropped to her knees, gasping. Through the rippling miasma, she saw Tay standing at the mouth of the volcano. Flames erupted from his clothes and hair. He turned to her just for a moment and smiled. And then he left. Benara was in a daze as she began the long, treacherous climb down the volcano. She began to think of the projects ahead. Were there enough provisions and storage at her house in Gorn for the meeting of the houses? Counselors were bound to stay there for weeks, maybe months. There was much work to be done. Slowly, as she descended, she began to forget. It would not last, but it would be a start. Dagoth Akra stood as near to the mouth of the volcano as she could stand, blinking her eyes at the ash, soaked by the heat. She watched all and smiled. On the ground was the silver ring, the seal of House Dagoth. Tython had been sweating so much it slipped off. She picked it up and put it on her own finger. Touching her belly, she heard a new refrain of the poison song of Morrowind begin. Posting of the hunt. The writing in this book appears to be a hasty transcription, perhaps from dictation or copied from a longer work. Let no man say before a witness that a hunt has not been called for the rites declared or the ancient offices observed. The ritual of the innocent quarry, also called the wild hunt, is an ancient rite drawing magical energy from the powerful magic stream that engulfs this realm. Creators and times of the rituals are long forgotten. If followed properly, the rite brings great power and prestige to the huntsman. The ritual pits the all-powerful huntsmen and their greater and lesser dogs against the pitiful and doomed innocent quarry, called by tradition the hare, after the mortal creature of human hunts. At once, the huntsman is transported to the exquisite thrill and glory of his might and dominion over his helpless prey, and at the same time touched by the tragic, noble, and ultimately futile plight of the innocent quarry. In the highest aesthetic realization of this ritual, the ecstatic rapture of the kill is balanced by the huntsman's identification with the sadness and despair of the innocent quarry. As in pieces, the body of the innocent hare is torn. The huntsman reflects on the tragic imbalances of power and the cruel injustices of the world. As the hunt begins, the lesser dogs assemble before the green crystal reflections of the chapel of the innocent quarry. Inside the chapel, the huntsman, the greater dogs, and the master of the hunt perform the rituals that initiate and sanctify the huntsman, the hunt, and the innocent quarry. Then the huntsman emerges from the chapel, displays the spear of bitter mercy, and recites the offices of the hunt. The offices describe the laws and condition of the 4 stages of the hunt: the drag, chase, call, and the view to the kill. Stage 1, the drag, in which the lesser dogs drag the ground to flush out the hare. Stage 2, the chase, in which the greater hounds drive the hare before them. Stage 3, call, in which the greater hounds trap the hare and summon the huntsman for the kill. Stage 4, the view, in which the huntsman makes the kill with the ritual spear of bitter mercy, and calls upon the master of the hunt to view the kill by ringing the town bell. The master of the hunt then bestows the bounty upon the huntsman Bold, who has wielded the spear of bitter mercy in the kill. The master of the hunt also calls upon the huntsman Bold to name the next hare for the next hunt, though the huntsman Bold himself may not participate in the hunt. The offices of the hunt, which the huntsman, master, and hounds are solemnly sworn to honor, detail the practices and conditions of the hunt. These practices and conditions, also known as the law, strictly define all details of the hunt, such as how many hounds of each sort may participate, how the spear of bitter mercy may be wielded, and so forth. In addition, the law states that the hare must have a genuine chance to escape the hunt, no matter how slim. Practice. This condition has been defined as the availability of 6 keys, which, if gathered together in the Temple of Daedric Rites, permit the hare to teleport away from the hunt, and so elude the huntsman and his spear. It is inconceivable, of course, that the hare might actually discover the keys and escape. But the forms must be observed, and tampering with a key or cheating the hare of a genuine chance of finding or using the keys is a shameful and unforgivable betrayal of the law of the hunt. The ritual of the hunt grants the huntsman protection from all forms of attack, including mortal and immortal weapons, and sorceries of all schools. Huntsmen are cautioned, however, that the ritual does not protect the huntsman from the potent energies of his own spear, and cautions against reckless wielding of the spear in close melee, darkness, or other dangerous circumstances, for a single touch of the Spear of Bitter Mercy means instant and certain death for innocent hare or fellow huntsman alike. The right to name a wild hunt is grand and grave indeed, but all but the Hydranger lords are vulnerable to potent sorceries of the Spear of Bitter Mercy. The spear itself is therefore a terrible weapon and is forbidden to remove from its grounds of the ritual hunt. Yikes. So, yikes. Alright. Freaking me out, I bet. Okay.
Yes, listener?
What is this? These old eyes can barely see, but I can always sense the presence of brethren of the Brotherhood.
Who are you?
No one of any consequence any longer.
It's
My
probably
name is
Legacy the Dragonborn.
I was once a vital young assassin of the Dark Brotherhood, like yourself, answering the call of Sithis.
Kitty's back.
Now I spend my days and nights here,
You wanna listen to the creepy
awaiting my
dude?
eternal embrace from the Night Mother. I do have one final piece of knowledge left to impart. If you would bear it, it brings with it great power and a great curse.
Dun dun dun. I would hear more.
I have been the keeper of a relic known as the
Hand of Glory. Okay, cool.
for
Yeah.
the better part of my late life.
What is the Hand of Glory? Yeah.
The
okay.
Hand of Glory is a dark relic, sought by all thieves and assassins who know of its name. The hand is much what it sounds like. A severed hand, cleaved from the body of a wrongfully hung man. The hand itself possesses a great curse.
Oh, that's interesting. I always thought the Hand of Glory was associated with thieves because thieves used to have their hands chopped off. That's what I thought a Hand of Glory was. Okay. I'll have to look it up.
The will of the hanged man imposes itself on the hand, to grasp futilely for revenge for his missed death.
Yep. Hand of Glory is a dried and pickled hand of a hanged criminal. Said to have supernatural powers in European folklore. Hand is often the left hand of the deceased or the hand that committed the crime if the person was hanged for murder. So yeah, there's a ton of mythology on how to make, ritually make a Hand of Glory, but why would I want a cursed hand that's trying to kill me?
The idle hand is given a task, to bear the light of another soul wrongfully committed to death. This light comes by way of a candle, itself formed from the remains of one wrongfully condemned. So long as the hand has the candle to bear, its powers will give the holder great boons. and not seek to demise the bearer.
Not seek the demise. Okay, but what would I gain from it?
Any who have crafted and bear the Hand of Glory from the Hangman's hand will be rendered invisible, as well as become a master of the arts of finesse. And light shall ever be cast upon their path. However, powers are draining and tax the holder's vitality, magic, and well-being. And if the candle ever burns out entirely... the bearer of the Hand of Glory will perish along with the flame, and their soul lost to oblivion.
Yikes. Sounds like a great risk to me.
The boon is
You can
no
say it another way.
mere
Sounds like a
small
great
enchantment,
risk
my
to
friend.
me.
Your skills of legerdemain and skullduggery would make the legendary Grey Fox's skill look like that of an infant guar.
We did just talk about how awkward guars are. That does sound amazing, so why give it up?
The fire of my candle is nearly gone, and I must pass the hand for another to bear if I am to be taken into the Night Mother's eternal embrace. Were you to take this burden, I would not say to do so lightly, and in crafting the Hand of Glory, use it sparingly, if at all.
I would take up the Hand of Glory to free you from it.
Such a noble gesture.
Uh-huh.
The hand itself is well hidden. When it became apparent that the flame was soon to die, I hid away within a cavern to resist the temptation to use it further. Though its curse already weighed heavy on me, I could not bear to part with it before then.
So where's it at? Yeah, I'm not saying that. So where is it?
The hand resides within the glacial cave on the Isle of Solstheim, far away from the reach of any temptation. Go there and obtain it. After you have done so, you must collect the essence from the corpse of an individual who has been executed.
Their essence?
Ugh.
Ugh.
Their fat to craft the candle.
Yikes.
The nature of the crime should
Looks
be
like we're probably
anything but
playing
black and white.
Grogvir another
Anything
visit.
disputed or questionable will fuel the flame. With this civil war underway, there should be ample possibilities. Once you have the two items, return to me, and I shall instruct you further.
Not. Interesting. I haven't done this. This place is a maze. Okay, I'm trying to find... the red guard, I can't think of his name. Okay. This... Yeah, this is the torture room where you can raise your skills. Hey guys. Oh. Yeah, my brain just said just hanging out. Bad brain. Bad brain.
Do you need components?
I'm good, thanks. Okay, I'm just gonna follow the left wall, see if I can find him. Okay, so we were just down there. Looks like we're going back. Yeah, the red guard guy tends to have quest updates, so let me see. Nazir!
Why am I not surprised to learn Cicero is alive? I still can't stomach the little clown. But if you welcomed him here, I won't question it.
You're questioning it right now. What are you training in light armor?
You already know all that I know.
Are there any more contracts available?
There are, indeed. 3, to be exact. There's Deacus, a shipwreck scavenger, Mirandru Joe, a traveling caravanner, and Honoriath, a hunter.
Okay.
Happy.
Okay, so let's see. Great Door is northwest. Okay. Should get me started. There is Hands of Glory are usually associated with thieves, and I have noticed on one of the loading screen artworks, this is the bath, yeah, okay, that it's very subtle and down in the lower right corner, but oh, trying to set this. But in his artwork, it appears that Delvin has one. If it comes up again, I'll point it out. Thanks for watching. Wishing you found family, creative hobbies, a hot bath after a long day, and food you love as much as Saleya loves apple pies.